The movie begins with a man speeding in a sexy sports car on the highway. The driver was speeding too fast, like he was trying to meet up with something. He enters the compound and packs his car. He comes out of the car and he tells his 3 favorite minions to stay focused on their mission. They all walked into the building. Inside the building they were having a party. It was his class 85th year anniversary and they were celebrating it. The minions were suddenly distracted by the meals at the party and they totally forgot about the mission. Gru sees Maxime the villain. They start talking as they exchanged pleasantries. Maxime introduces his new girlfriend to Gru. The both of them have been rivalries since high school. The principal calls them together as she was about to give the Golden Alumni Award. She calls Maxime as the winner. He walks up to the stage and he was given the award as everybody was cheering. Maxime started giving a speech on stage. He tells them about the powers of a cockroach and the recent breakthroughs he made on cockroaches. Everybody was cheering at him. Just as he was still giving the speech, he suddenly breaks the table before him. He started tearing up his clothes as he turns into a cockroach on stage. Gru saw what was going on and quickly jumps on the stage. He shoots a candy gun at him. Maxime breaks off the candy. Gru shot 2 more bullets at him and it hit him. Some agents breaks into the place and surround Maxime. He starts fighting with the agents as he hit them with his claws. He walked on the screen and jump kicked one of the agents. Gru shoots an iron net at him and it ties him up and the agents surrounded him. Just as Gru thought it was all over, Maxime breaks loose and runs towards him. The agents quickly shoots an electric gun at him and he was captured. The next day, Gru comes back home with some groceries as his daughter was playing with her pet. His wife comes out to welcome him. He carried Junior, his lastborn, and was playing with him. Just as he was having some good time with his family, a man knocks on the door and he was let into the house. The man was from the secret agency they worked for, and he had some news for them. He tells them that Maxime has broken out of the agency's custody and he was threatening to kidnap their lastborn. They quickly pack their things as they must now move to the agency's safe house. They leave their house and drives off heading to the safe house. Meanwhile, all his minions' friends were also been taken to a safe place as they were seen having fun inside the bus. The driver stops the bus because the minions were too loud and he told them to keep quiet. But instead of stopping the noise, they threw a plate of iced cake to his face. After a while the bus arrived at the agency's headquarters and the minions quickly runs into the elevator. Gru and his family just entered the Mayflower estate and they were seeing beautiful houses as they drove past. They finally reached the safe house, but the building wasn't fancy as they thought. They enter the house and he turns on the light. The man gave them some instruction paper containing their new identity. After that, the man leaves. That same day in the night, Maxime and his girlfriend were seen parting with his soldiers of cockroaches, as they celebrated his escape from prison. After celebrating, Maxime thanks his cockroaches for their efforts as he tells them about his plans to kidnap Gru's son. The next day, Gru and his daughter drives off heading to her new school. After driving for a while they finally got there and he drops her off. Meanwhile, at the agency's headquarters the manager picks out 5 of the minions for experiment. He took them into the experiment room and they were put into an experiment pod. After going through some scientific processes the minions started breaking out of the experiment pod as they now have supernatural ability. They were the first super minions ever made. After that, Gru's wife is seen working at a hair salon. A lady walks in as she needed a quick hair makeup. She started making the woman's hair as she poured some liquid on the hair, but it starts burning the woman's hair. Mistakenly the whole salon started burning as she quietly leaves the place to avoid an embarrassment. Meanwhile, Maxime was still in his underground hiding place as he is seen reviewing his new gun. He pressed a remote on his hand and giant cockroach robot came out of the dark. After some time, the giant cockroach robot breaks out from the underground and started climbing the building. It was Maxime and his girlfriend. They turned on the craft booster and flew away as they went in search of Gru. At night, Gru went out to put some trash in the trash box. He sees Poppy, his neighbor's creepy daughter. Poppy walks up to him and told him that she knew he was once a villain. She also told him his real name, which nobody in the estate should have known. After the weird chit-chat, Poppy goes back into her compound. The next day, the new super minions were seen displaying their ability inside the agency building. One of the minions shoots his laser at the cup just to make the tea hot, but it got out of control as the laser reached into space. The other super minions helped him stop it and they were all laughing at him. The manager walks and told them that it was time to text their super abilities. All the super minions quickly runs out to text out their powers. Maxime was still searching for Gru as he was flying in his giant robot. He was low on petrol, so he landed at the petrol station to get some petrol. They both walked out of the robot. His girlfriend started filling the tank up while he tried to pay with his card. But the machine kept declining it. He walks into the shop to tell the staff about it, but the man was acting reluctant. Maxime angrily shoots the man with his new gun and man turns into a hybrid cockroach. The man quickly runs and gets him what he wanted and he walks away. Meanwhile, Gru's wife was shopping with her children and she suddenly sees the lady she burnt her hair at the salon. She quickly hides. She tried sneaking out of the place but she created a scene and the lady saw her. The lady started chasing her as she runs off with her children. She threw stuff at the lady but it didn't stop her. She continued running till she leaves through the entrance door. The lady was still chasing her but she accidentally crashed into the door. She gets into her car with the children and drives away as the lady continued chasing her. That same day Gru is seen talking with Poppy. Poppy told Gru about her plans to rob his former high school and she wanted him to join her. Gru hesitated about it at first but he later agrees to join her on the heist and they leave in a hot air balloon. Meanwhile, the super minions were out in the city as they went to test their powers. A thief snatched a man's bag and was running. One of the minion quickly jumps down and lands on the ground. He throws an iron at the thief but he missed and it came back and hit the man. A cleaner was stuck at the top of a building. The minion sees him and flies to save him but instead of saving him he takes the wipe and started cleaning the window. After cleaning the window he flies away leaving the man to die. A cat was stuck on a tree. The minions came and cuts the branch of the tree with his laser as he saved the cat. The lady was happy with him so she kissed him. He immediately lost control and started destroying everything with his laser beam. A train had a mechanical failure and it was moving at a high speed. The elastic minion swung to the front of the train and tried to stop it as he slows it down. But he later crashed it into a building. A man was trying to stop a bomb from exploding. The rocky minion came and told him to stop. He carries the bomb and swallows it as it explodes inside his stomach. But as he opened his mouth he released an echo wave that destroyed everything around. After that, all the minion were seen walking on the street. Everybody was angry with them and the people started chasing them as they run away. The manager came with a bus and told them to get in as he drives away from the place. After that Gru and his allies were seen flying to the school. After flying for some time they finally got to the school. They climbed down the rope and landed on the window side of the building. Gru used a pin to create an opening on the glass and they entered the building as they are seen climbing down a rope. Gru and his allies quietly made their way through the building. They finally get to the principal's door and it was locked. Poppy brings out a pin from her ear and picked the lock and the door open. Gru blows some baby powders on the air and the laser trap became visible. But the baby has already entered the room and Gru was furious. The baby climbs the principal desk and started playing with the laser switch as he turns it on and off. After some time he finally turns it off and they enter the office. Gru pulled the tail of the sculpture and a cage came down from the roof. The honey badger was inside the cage sleeping. He brought out a medicine to help paralyze the honey badger. But the baby opened the cage and the badger started attacking them. The medicine mistakenly hits him on his bot and it paralyzed him. The honey badger was still attacking them as it was chasing the minions. The principal was awakened by an alarm and she quickly knew that something was wrong. She enters her wheelchair and jets off to her office. The honey badger tried to attack the baby. But he gave it some juice and it became friendly with him. They quickly leave the office and they saw the principal coming with her bodyguards. Gru and his allies started running as the principal was chasing them. She got to the stairs and turned her tires into a bigger one and continued chasing them. They got to a place and stopped. Gru brings out a baby cream and splashed it on the principal's face. She was now blinded by it. As she rides off the stairs and crash into the wall. They all leave the building and enter a flying vehicle. Gru turns on the vehicle and they flew away as they headed back home. The next day, the principal called Maxime and told him the location of Gru's safe house. Maxime was happy to hear the news and he quickly jets off to the location. Meanwhile Gru and his wife are seen leaving the house for a tennis game. After they left Poppy came over to play with her new friend and they all walked inside. Gru and his wife entered the place and they were welcomed by their neighbor. She drags his wife away for some ladies' time while Gru walked into the tennis court to play some tennis. After that, the principal is seen at their safe house. She came to get her horny badger. Poppy sees her through the window as she is talking to the girls. She quickly carries the honey badger and sneaked out through the back door. The principal entered the house as she decided to wait for Gru until he comes back. At the tennis court, the minion was seen giving the man multiple red cards in Gru's favor. Gru got a text message from his daughter and he immediately noticed that something was wrong at the house. He quickly ran out of the tennis court and informed his wife about the situation. They both ran out of the place as she pressed the agency's emergency button. At the agency's headquarters, the manager gets an alarm and immediately calls the minions, as he knows that Gru and his family was in danger. Gru and his wife finally made it back home. The principal accuses him of stealing her honey badger. Gru tried to explain exactly what happened to her, but she activates her robot arm and starts beating him up. His wife quickly hides the children under the table. After that, she jumped on the principal's wheelchair and started spinning her around. Meanwhile, Maxime and his girlfriend were just arriving at the place as they were seen walking out of the giant robot. The children decided to join the fight as they were seen throwing stuffs at the principal. The principal's wheelchair mistakenly hits the baby and he rolls out of the door. Maxime and his girlfriend sees the child and she carries the baby. They were still fighting inside the house as the lady poked the wheelchair with an iron rod and it started malfunctioning. Gru and his wife started looking for the baby but they saw only the baby's wheelchair. Gru quickly ran out of the house and saw Maxime flying away with his baby as he ran after them. Luckily for him, Poppy comes out with the flying car and asks him to hop in. They quickly flew off going after Maxime. As they got close to Maxime's aircraft, Gru tries to get on the craft, but Maxime's girlfriend uses the leg of the craft to hit them and they start falling. After some time, Poppy finally regained her balance and flew back up. Gru quickly hopped on Maxime's aircraft and Poppy flew away. Gru mistakenly slipped to the front of the aircraft and he was now covering the front view as they accidentally crashed into a building. After the crash, Gru stood up and was looking for his son. It turned out that Maxime had turned his son into a hybrid baby and the child was now under Maxime's control. Just as they were talking, Maxime's girlfriend came out with the giant robot and started attacking Gru as he started running. He accidentally falls on the ground and the lady was trying to poke him with the legs of the robot. The weight of the robot was too much, so the floor collapsed and the robot fell inside. After that, Maxime and Gru started fighting as Gru tried to hit him with an iron rod but Maxime used his claws to cut the iron. He then tried to fly away with the baby but Gru quickly jumped and held his leg as he flew away. As he was flying through a construction crane, Gru used his leg to stop him as he pinned his legs in an iron. Maxime turns and kicks him and he fell to the edge of the crane. Gru was barely holding onto an iron with just his hand. Maxime came close to him and started matching his hands as he tries to make him fall off. Just as Gru was about to fall off, the baby suddenly regained his mind and started fighting Maxime as he bites Maxime's ear. Gru quickly sees the opportunity and punches Maxime on his face. Maxime fell off from the top of the crane. He continued falling from the top of the crane as he crashed into multiple objects and finally lands on the ground. The baby was now safe again as Gru and his family are seen together. Maxime the roach villain was later arrested.